I'm just an average American child, and I've got something to say. This big world needs to settle down so kids like me can play outside in the sandbox or swinging from a tree, jumping like a kangaroo on a trampoline. Starfish, rocket ship, won't you come on down today? We all need a helping hand, so please can be our way.
I'm just an average American child, and I've got something to say. You gotta learn to settle down so kids like me can play outside in the backyard sun where mama can hear us laugh, tending to the garden weeds rolling in the grass. Starfish, rocket ship, won't you come on down today? We all need a helping hand, so please can be our way.
I'm just an average American mom, but I got something to say. We gotta learn to settle down, enjoy our kids at play. It's all up to you and me, we can make it work. Understanding all our needs and being gentle with our earth. Starfish, rocket ship, won't you come on down today? We all need a helping hand, so please can be our way.
Well, I'm just an average American guy, and I've got something to say. Feed the hungry, stop the war, share more at work and play. Give a hand up to all who needs to reaching out worldwide. Don't be surprised, you might wanna join our side. Starfish, rocket ship, won't you come on down today? We all need a helping hand, so please be our way. Starfish, rocket ship, won't you come on down today? We all need a helping hand, so please be our way. Stacy, Emily.
Good morning and welcome to Columbine Spiritual Center, where centered in God we celebrate a world of harmony, peace, and abundance for all. Please stand and let's sing some joy songs with Mark and Stacy.
How to practice.
All right, we got a special one. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily,
life is but a dream.
your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. You got the flow? All right. Next.
Oh, were the kids coming out? Do we bring the kids in?
Elton John wrote this song. The words I have to say may well be simple, but they're true. Until you give your love, there's nothing more that we can do. Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could offer you more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? You say it's very hard to leave behind the life we once knew. But there's no other way, and now it's really up to you. Love is the key we must turn. Truth is the flame we must burn. Freedom's the lesson we must learn. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen? Love is the opening door. Love is what we came here for. No one could offer you more. Do you know what I mean? Have your eyes really seen?
And our kids should be coming up.
Hi, Columbine. If all the kids can come on up, and then, Campbell, I will tell you what we're doing today, okay? Sometimes I get to talking out there. So I know we had a huge party last night, and it sounded like so much fun. I think some of you were here for that party. Yeah, so, all right. Okay, so today, just to let you know, Campbell just asked me, oh, you're behind me, could you come over to the side? And you can come over to the side too. There you go. We are doing all kinds of summer fun things. We only have a certain amount of time that we can be outside in the sunshine and the warmth, so we do a lot of messy painting things that are big, like big canvases and seashells with glitter and, all kinds of stuff like that. That's after our meditation and more of our devotional time. So we have a lot of fun. So I think, we also have a high school program. If anyone we'd love you to join us if you're in high school or you have someone that you know that is in high school. Susan is downstairs every Sunday morning. And we also have a middle school program, and we can give some extra pairs to Andy Lennick. He had a hip replacement surgery this week, and he's doing really well. So he works with our middle school kids. But any middle school kids can just come down with me today or with us today. And I think that's good. So you can bless us out. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you. We see the Christ you are.
So let's open our hearts and open our minds with this next song as we prepare for prayer and meditation, which will be led this morning by our prayer chaplain, Beth Overstreet.
I will make a quiet place within my heart, and I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord.
quiet place within my mind, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord. Be still, my soul. Be still.
Be still, my soul. Be still.
Be still and know. I will make a quiet place within my heart, and I will wait upon the Lord. Wait upon the Lord.
Take a deep breath. Really settle in and open your hearts. Let Spirit flow through each and every one of you, through each and every one of us. Divine love that flows. We open our hearts and our minds. We recognize our connection with each other. We recognize our community. We celebrate that community. The willingness to share ourselves with each other. We recognize that through this connection, through the flow, that's where the quality of our life increases. Our ability to love each other, to love ourselves, and to share our gifts with everyone, even if it's just a smile to brighten someone's day. It's in that connection that we grow, that we thrive. And we hold in our hearts this love for all the people in our prayer box and on our prayer list, for anyone that might be hurting. We share that deep connection of who we are. We collapse the separation, the sense of separation. And we celebrate our connectedness with divinity and celebrate the spiritual beings that we are. With love, light, and gratitude, we say all in and amen. And now we move into a few moments of meditation.
Be still, my soul, be still and know.
I will make a quiet place within my mind. I will wait upon the Lord, wait upon the Lord. You don't have to cry to get love. You don't have to cry to get love. Just reach out your arms and ask for a hug. You don't have to cry to get love. You don't have to war to get peace. You don't have to war to get peace. Just offer to trade something you've made. You don't have to war to get peace. You don't have to cry to get love. You don't have to want to get peace. You don't have to kill the rule hate. You don't have to kill the rule hate. Put down your arms and say I won't kill. You don't have to kill the rule hate. And you don't have to die to be free. You don't have to die to be free. Just reach out with love to you and me. You don't have to die to be free. You don't have to cry to be loved. You don't have to want to get peace. You don't have to kill to rule hate. You don't have to die to be free. You don't have to cry to get love. You don't have to cry to get love. Just reach out your arms and ask for a hug. You don't have to cry to get love.
That's a Marquette original.
Thank you, Stacy. Thank you, Mark. Mark's debut here at Columbine is music. So glad to have him. So I'm really pleased to introduce our guest speaker today, Reverend Brad Langdon. He and his wife Jane were living in Niwot, Colorado, when he got the call to ministry and got ordained in 2007. And then they moved to Anderson, Indiana, where Brad served as the senior minister there till 2015, I think, when he decided to retire. And they moved back to Niwot. So some of you may remember Brad taught a class here on prayer not too long ago, a few months ago, and I heard so many rave reviews from the people that took the class. So I'm thrilled to have him here today so that all of you can experience him and his wisdom and his presence. So, Reverend Brad, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. And thank you, everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here, and Mark and Stacy for that awesome music today. I want to say a couple of things about Reverend Sue. No, seriously. I mean, we're lucky in this congregation to have Sue here. She's insightful. She's inspiring. She's kind and she's thoughtful. And that makes an absolutely wonderful minister, a person to take their words in and consider how they might be helpful to me. Thank you, Sue, for all that you do here. Another thing that I respect about Sue is Sunday morning. She's got her iPad right here, right? We all know that this is where her talk is, right? Because we see her refer to it. As casual as if she just walked out of the bookstore with a book in hand and met you. So at home, I tried this, right? Nah, it didn't work for me. Proof positive that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So I'm paper. One day, not all that long ago, there was a little girl who was sitting in the kitchen and she was watching her mother, a brunette, do the dishes. And she noticed that Mom has a few strands of white hair. And she says, "Mama, how come you have some white hair?" And the mother says to her, "Well, every time that you do something wrong, make me cry or unhappy, one of my hairs turns white." The little girl took this in and she thought for a second and then she said, "Mama, why are all of Grandma's hairs white?" When I was a kid, when I was young, 10, 11, 12, I always checked my horoscope for something good. I was always disappointed. But I was mostly disappointed when I got this advice: define terms. So I'm a young kid. I like, what does that mean? You know, I want you to tell me I'm going to be rich and meet the girl of my dreams, which I eventually did, but not at that moment. So today we're going to define some terms because now I see the wisdom in defining terms because it helps us to communicate. So, connective tissue. According to Britannica.com, connective tissue is the tissue that maintains attraction and sticking together of molecules and provides internal support for the body. So attraction and sticking together and internal support, metaphysically, is what we're going to talk about today. Attraction, sticking together, and the internal support that we receive from God. Another term to define as I see it. Because I know that's a term that elicits lots of emotion, and lots of people have lots of different experiences, some of it awfully painful. So here's how I see God. Here's how I understand God. Here's how I experience God. Loving presence. Loving presence, nothing more than that. Not something angry, not something judgmental, not something vengeful, not someone who's sitting there arbitrarily deciding what my life will be. But I experience God simply as loving presence. God is not to be feared. Why is that? Because God is everywhere present and a loving presence. Unconditional love that we are completely immersed in. So again, what I want to talk about today is the attraction, the sticking together, and the internal support that we get with our connection to God. Now, my personal search began in the early 1970s, and I joined what I'll call a spiritual group that had a leader. And one day, the leader was speaking, the bishop of the church was speaking, and he asked this question that just made me sit sort of internally bolt upright in my seat. He asked, "Do you have a direct connection with God?" What? No. No, because what I had learned growing up was that you went to the special ones. They had the direct connection with God. Excuse me. Ministers, the priests, the rabbis. And that's where, at that time in my life, I was going for direction, for advice. So I set a course on a personal to find this direct connection. And then along the way, there was another important moment. I realized that searching for God is fruitless. Not pointless, but fruitless. Well, God's everywhere present, right? So God isn't out there. God isn't over there. God isn't behind the table, beneath the drums, over there by the piano. Up there, somewhere separate and apart from me. When I was introduced to this idea that God is everywhere, it made me think, if God is everywhere, then why don't I experience God? Here in Unity, we teach that God is everywhere present. And at the end of our talk, we do the prayer for protection. Wherever I am, God is. So we're always affirming that. So if you take that idea as fact, that God is everywhere present, if you're not there yet, maybe at least the possibility that it might be true, then it's a logical question. What's keeping me from this experience? One thing that I know from my particular path is the more that I experienced the presence of God, the more I understood how it is wholly, with a W, wholly loving. It's like no exceptions. But back to the question, what's keeping me from being consciously aware of my connection to this loving presence? Can we have our first slide, please? Rumi has some input on this. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. It's everywhere present. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all of the barriers within yourself that you have built against the presence of love, the awareness and the experience of the presence of love. So this former seemingly elusive presence that I searched for so many years and couldn't find, it's right here, right now. And the direction is clear. All I have to do is look within, right, and see these barriers and put them down. Here's a simple metaphor. Let's say that my intention is to find the light. And we'll use these stage lights as the metaphor for the light, for finding the presence of God. I wonder where that could be. Oh, I know. It's in the next book I'm going to read. Oh, I know. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. Now, here's a quiz for you, and I invite you to speak out. If I want to find the light in this particular circumstance, what would you suggest I do? Put down my umbrella. It's actually what I should have called this talk, right? Put down your umbrellas. I can almost hear you thinking, all right, Brad, great. I got to look at my internal blocks, my fears, my angers, my judgments, my criticisms, my jealousies. How do I do that? Number one. And how do I do that without all of these negative thoughts that I have chasing me off? Our own thoughts often stop us from movement. So how do I do this? How do I do this without being scared off by my own thinking? I have a suggestion for you. Second slide, please. You might have heard these words 2 weeks ago. When we fix our sight, understanding, love, etc., on Spirit, Spirit fixes our sight. I don't know if those were Sue's words or are those Charles's words. Those are your words. Excellent. See how wonderful? See, like I was saying earlier. So when we fix our sight, our understanding, etc., on Spirit, Spirit fixes our sight. That's excellent advice. So the fixing of your sight, your understanding and your love and Spirit, and its return is done through your spiritual practice of choice. Whatever your spiritual practice is, that's what helps us connect more aware and be more aware of the presence of God. And that's what returns the knowledge and the direction and the advice that we need. That's the meaning of as I give, so shall I receive. Your spiritual practice of choice, that's your connective tissue that creates attraction, sticking together, and the internal support of God. Fix your sights on connection, and your connection will grow. So how do we do this? My suggestion for you on how to address your internal barriers is this. And if you remember only one sentence that I said today or one idea that I put forth today, it's this. Slide, please. Use your spiritual practice on your tiniest upsets, annoyances, and irritations. Use your spiritual practice on the little things that bother you. What we often do is we get irritated by something or annoyed by something and we go, whatever. But what we've done is we've passed by a chance to extend love to something, to our judgment, actually. And Charles says, Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity with his wife Myrtle, says that love is the healer and harmonizer. So when we have these little irritations, because we know that what we resist persists, we could extend love to these little irritations, the things that we think are meaningless, we're just going to go, whatever. There's value there. That, in my mind, helps to build a really strong foundation. Bob Dylan wrote a song called Forever Young, and in that there's a lyric that says, may you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes come. Applying our spiritual practice to the little things creates a strong foundation. Little tiny building block, a nice little strong one, because I took care of this little thing. It isn't something I avoided. It isn't a block full of, like a Swiss cheese, so that when the big things, the quote-unquote big things come, maybe I don't have the kind of strength I want. I think we can build some really deep, strong strength in our life. It's a crazy world we live in sometimes, if we focus on that. It's a loving world we live in all the time if we focus on the loving presence of God. So I'm not asking you to be perfect in doing this. I'm certainly not perfect in remembering to address every little thing that bothers me or annoys me. I frequently just let them go by, but then later on, I think about that. I remember that comes to mind. So like I said, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm just asking you to use your spiritual practice sooner and sooner. When it comes to mind that something needs to be addressed, use your spiritual practice. When I was at Unity Village and I was going through the ministerial program, one of the classes we had was hospital chaplaincy. Excuse me. And one of the requirements of hospital chaplaincy was to take an overnight shift at Truman Hospital in downtown Kansas City. and as the chaplain on call, or the student chaplain on call. Now, this whole story is really long, so I'm going to make this the Reader's Digest version. Due to circumstances, we as a class weren't able to go out on the floor and practice the things that we've been studying in class. Well, when the moment finally came that we were allowed to go out on the floor, we had 45 minutes that day of practicing to be a chaplain. It also happened to be the night or the week that I was having my first overnight. Nobody else had been able to go because of all these conditions, so here I am, I'm going downtown to Truman Hospital as the chaplain on call. I got 45 minutes of experience. I'm ready to go. Once I arrived at Truman, I was called to the emergency room, to the trauma center. I'm going to give you some details. They're a little intense, so heads up. So there was a 19-year-old woman that was brought into the trauma center. She'd been shot 11 times. She was 7 months pregnant. The fetus had been shot at least once. So my job, when the family arrived, was to give them comfort. I should also say, this young woman was a woman of color from, hope this is not politically incorrect, but from the mean streets of Kansas City. So when the family came in, my job was to give them comfort. My job was to provide them comfort when the doctor came in and said, the young woman didn't survive. It was my job to give them comfort when the doctor came in and said, the baby didn't survive. Now, I'm a kid from the suburbs. I never lived anywhere that was diverse. So I had really nothing in common with these folks. And I certainly had no life experience like they've had. I didn't see the world through the religious eyes that they saw. The matriarch of the family, when the doctor told her that the woman had died, fell to her knees and slapped the floor and said, "Satan will not win. Satan will not win." I was terrified. I was terrified that night. I had no idea what to do. Certainly never talked about anything like that in class. So what had happened is I had completely checked out consciously. I didn't know until sometime the next day that I had actually been in shock that evening. I was not aware that evening, because I was consciously checked out, I was not aware of what I was doing then. And looking back at that particular event today, I'm not aware of what I did other than keep the water glasses full, make sure there were tissues for everybody. This is a good time to revisit another idea. Next slide, please. 2 weeks ago, Laura Berman sang this song. I believe it's a Daniel Nahmad song. When I pray, I go deeper into my God. When I pray, I go deeper into my God. We all sang that together. And I believe this to be true, and I'll just rephrase it this way. When I regularly use my spiritual practice, I go deeper into God. Now, by the time I was in the ministerial program, so before this event, I did have a regular forgiveness practice. It was something akin to Ho'oponopono, if you're aware of that. If not, in the simplest terms, I would extend, if I was irritated or annoyed or judgmental, I would extend love to the person or the circumstance and internally ask for forgiveness for being judgmental. So apparently that's what I was doing that evening, unbeknownst to me. So the next morning, when I had to debrief with my instructor, he said to me that the DSO, that's the Director of Shift Operations, he's the person who's at the top of the pyramid on any particular shift, has the last word on everything in the hospital. He said that the DSO called him that morning with a compliment about this student chaplain the night before, about me. Apparently, I did something well. So, this story that I just told isn't meant to garner a pat on the back for me, but this story is meant to show you that, or this story is a dramatic example, I believe, is a dramatic example of the strength and the internal support that was given to me because of my practice of attempting to go deeper into my God. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes come. So I invite you to use your spiritual practice. I'll make an assumption here, more often than you have been. Just on the little things. And you know, so here's a good example. This would be better if it was closer to the holidays, right? Because we always talk about family, Thanksgiving, oh my gosh, family. I've got all these issues with my family. You don't have to use your spiritual practice on every little thing. Like, let's say you have 5 family members that just annoy the dickens out of you. You can group them all together and do, a big forgiveness thing on them. So, whatever your issues are, whenever they come to mind, just use your spiritual practice. That will attract, that's an attraction to this loving spirit, and you'll find, I believe, you'll find guidance and direction come to you more naturally. Please don't wait. Last week we talked about don't wait, right? Please don't wait. Start moving towards a deeper awareness of the presence of love in your life. Now I've got one last kind of quick thing. And this is just to illustrate that ministers are not immune from having to practice spiritually. So a couple of nights, I'm writing this talk, a couple of nights ago, and I'm putting the finishing touches on it, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm writing, and I'm eating dinner at the same time, and when I'm done with dinner, I take my plate, and I put it on the counter in the kitchen, and I see tortilla chips. I go, ooh, chips. Ooh, we have guacamole. I'm going to have some chips and guacamole. That'll be great. I go to the refrigerator, I open the door, I pull out the container of guacamole, and I maintain the top, and the bottom goes upside down, splat on the kitchen floor. Yeah, I had to practice. Thank you for being here today. Thank you, Sue, for inviting me to speak, and go forth and extend love. Blessings.
If he were here, what would he say to you? If he were here, face to face,
I like your style. children of God.
Now what would he do if he saw you crying?
What could he say to make you smile? I like your style. You make me smile.
Yes, you do.
We will build a happier world for all the children of God.
If he were here, would it be clear?
To you,
Love
love is the key, he would say. I like your style. You make me smile. We will build a happier world for all the children of God. Everybody wants to live a life with love that's true. Maybe we're ready for you.
What's
Coming soon,
He's making room.
for you. The path was written long ago. I like your style. You make me smile. We will build a happier world for all the children of God. We will build a happier world for all the children of God.
Thanks, Mark and Stacy. Thanks, Reverend Brad. Close your umbrella. Close your umbrella. Got a great picture of you with the umbrella. So this is a time in our service where we gratefully receive your love offerings, your tithes. We need your financial support to do everything we do here, so we appreciate every dollar that comes our way, so we are so grateful for that. Oh, and I forgot, let's say our purpose statement. I haven't been Ann in a while, so I'm doing the announcements. Let's say that together. We commit to increasing our spiritual awareness, diversifying our community, manifesting our highest potential, and positively impacting the world. And yes, that is what we have said we are about here. So now is the time to give of your financial gifts. We have many ways that you can do that, and we appreciate everything that you give. We have a very generous community. So let's say our offertory blessing together. God's love has always met and will always meet all my needs. I give freely, I receive abundantly, and I am grateful. And so it is. Amen. So let's take a moment to turn to our back camera and say hello to our all of our online viewers. Hello. Hello. We're so glad you're with us. Thank you for joining us either now or later. What do we have coming? So we had an amazing connective tissue event last night, as Brad talked about with our concert. How many of you were here last night? Yeah. We want to thank all of our volunteers. Anyone who helped us, who volunteered for, will you please stand up so we can just acknowledge you? Thank you so much. We couldn't do it without you, it takes many hands, and Raven did a fantastic job of coordinating and organizing, and I don't think she's here. Raven, are you here? I don't think Raven's here. Didn't see her. She was probably here late cleaning up, but what a great event. What a great time to connect with each other. It was so fun. And the weather cooperated. Okay, Becoming the Voice of God is next weekend. That's our women's retreat. Starts Friday night. There's still a few spots left. If you want to join us, if you haven't signed up yet, it's $75 love offering, and you can find that online through our website or from the email update that went out last Thursday. And join us in becoming the voice of the goddess. And what else? What's next? Colorado Feeding Kids. Where's Earl? Come on up here, Earl. He's going to talk about this wonderful event that we're holding in August.
Thanks, Sue. Well, the news is we are $8,200. No, pardon me, $8,400. So we need another roughly $1,500 to meet the budget. The date is the 12th. That's less than 2 weeks. We have about 65, 70 people signed up, of which there's 14 kids. So if you have kids you want to bring along, you won't be the only ones. We can use more hands, shorter time, more time to have lunch. Is that how that works? Oh, okay. We have definitely lined up where it's going. We're going to take 20 to 25,000 meals, and we're going to put them into Denver, Adams 12, and Cherry Creek schools. The first Friday the students are back, they're going to take home these white boxes. We have enough to be able to do all of those Category 1 schools. So it's going someplace. It's going to be local. It's going to be feeding kids. We need your help. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Earl. And you can sign up. Are you going to have a table, Bill, today? No table, but you can sign up online, yes, on our website through our email update that came out on Thursday, or if you need any help, see me or see anyone on staff, we can help you sign up for that. And Earl will be... There you go. There you go. We always have a paper person, yes. Gathering of Singers, Laura Berman is going to be leading anyone who wants to sing over 4 Thursdays, and then you can sing with her on Sunday, I think it's the 29th of October when she's here doing music. So if you love to sing and you've missed singing, please sign up and join them and join her and sing to your heart's content and just have fun together singing. Oktoberfest is our annual fundraiser this year, and we've got a Bavarian, what are you? Linda Hurst.
Thank you. I won't be doing accents or rap or anything, but if it takes you a long time to sign up, you'll keep seeing me like this, okay? So give me a break. It's coming in September. It's an Oktoberfest held Saturday, September 16th. That gives us 6 weeks to the event and 4 weeks for some of our deadlines. So if you could sign up, that'd be great. We are looking for some volunteers. That's also online. I would say our biggest thing that we need right now are adventures for our live auction. We have usually a minimum of 5. This might be place in the mountain. You have tickets. Maybe you're a seat holder at CU. You can't even get tickets. So think of some of the adventures that we could auction off. This is our big fundraiser. It's where most of our money comes from to keep us all moving. And the other thing, we need people to show up as far as for cooks. We're looking for 2 grills, if we can find 2 grills. 1 meat, 1 vegan. That would be great if you want to get rid of your old grill. I will be in Foss Hall. Tickets are $75. We just ask you to please sign up so that we can meet our deadlines with the number of people. So we're also looking for wine. Buy it now auctions. You have lessons. You have services. You go to the nail salon, ask them for gift certificates. And any other questions, just let me know. Okay? Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. And yeah, it's a fundraiser, but it's a fun time. It's a fundraiser, so please consider joining us for that. Okay, who are our prayer chaplains today? We've got Tink and Betsy, and they will be on either side of the sanctuary. If you're needing prayer in celebration or challenge or looking for that connection or don't know how to close your umbrella, see one of them, and they will pray you out of that umbrella. So, is that it? I feel like we're missing something. I guess that's it. I'll stand and sing our peace song together.
Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Just gotta live with a few of those
things.
baby diamonds on those rings. Things are meaning or send you screaming. You just gotta live with a few of those things. Just gotta live. Just gotta live. Just gotta move the way the music takes you. Maybe smooth or rough as the rhythm makes you. Maybe crude takes you out there. Just gotta move the way the music takes you. Just gotta move. Just gotta move. Just gotta live like the God intended. Spare the rod and forgive the mending. Maybe it's you that sends the message. Just gotta live like the God intended. Just gotta live with a few of those things. Just gotta live. Just gotta live.
Over the years, I have seen more people in love than I really mean. Yeah, I just gotta live life with class. Don't be an
Just gotta live
life with class. Old friends talking old days wanna say, have a nice day, 'cause I
just gotta live for today. Yeah, I
just gotta live for today.
I
Just gotta live for today.
Thank you all very much.